Lockpicking in Starfield is a lot different than what we've previously seen in the Elder Scrolls and Fallout series. In this video, we'll go over how to not waste those digipicks using both novice and advanced locks as an example. First things first, lockpicks in this game are called digipicks, not lockpicks or bobby pins, digipicks. Digipicks aren't too difficult to come by, but if you're running low, you have a few options for obtaining more. Stop by a general store in a major city, Jemison Mercantile on New Atlantis for example. They will usually stock ample supply for an affordable price. They're also abundant in the open world. When exploring a pirate base, for example, check the tables in the offices or nearby any safes that might be around. They're often just sitting there ready to be snagged. So with that out of the way, let's jump into a beginner lock to get a look at the unlocking minigame. In a novice lock, you'll see the lock itself dead center, 4 digipick patterns, and the number of digipick items that you have left. The goal is to only use the one digipick item that it took to get you starting the unlock, but there is a chance you'll end up using more than one due to poor planning. More on that in a second. The first thing we'll want to solve is the outside of the lock. You'll see the gaps in the lock that you need to fill, and you'll see the set of tool variations that you have to use to accomplish this. These variations aren't in any order, so you'll need to cycle through them to try different combinations. The key is to not lock in any of the picks unless you're sure that it goes there. Some variations will work for both the inside and the outside, but only one of them will be the actual solution. So if you're too eager to place one of the tools, and it turns out that it's incorrect, you'll need to undo it, which costs another digipick. Okay, let's try solving this lock. Select your digipick tools with the right stick on controller or with the mouse cursor on PC. With the first one selected, we'll move it around to see if it fits in any of the slots. Remember, each pin needs to go into a slot, none can be left out. So, as we spin this one, you'll see that there are no slots on the outside that this digipick can go into. It has 3 pins, and there's no way for all 3 to fit in their own slot. So, for a novice lock, you know that this one will go on the inside. Let's try another pick. As you can see, this third one fits into these 3 slots here. We're not going to confirm it until we're absolutely sure, but for now, this looks good. Now, time to fill the remaining 2 slots. After just a quick scan, it's clear that this one should fit nicely. One trick to keep in mind is that the picks keep their rotation as you move them. So you can place one pick where you think it should go, and swap back and forth between a couple of options to see if it all lines up. With this outer ring solved, we can go ahead and lock these in. Now we're on the center lock. We only have 2 picks left, so we just need to rotate them to see where they both go. That looks correct, so lock it in and you're done. Now let's try an advanced lock. Advanced locks introduce a couple more pick variations, and something to note is that 1 or 2 of these is going to be a useless pick. They won't be required at all. There's also a higher chance now, with more pick variations, that some of the picks can be used on both the inside and the outside. To try and reduce the chance that we'll need to undo an action which spends an additional digipick, we'll try to solve both the inside and outside before locking in any selections. The first thing to do is start playing around on the outside. Right away we can spot that this pick looks like it'll fit here. So place it there, but don't lock it in. We're only guessing right now since you'll see that this pick can also fit in the center lock slots as well. For now we'll just let it sit. Looking back at our picks, it appears that the one above it should fit into the remaining slots. It does, but we're still not going to lock it in because while we have the outside solved, there could be another solution we're not seeing right away. Now that we have a potential solution for the outside, let's solve the inside. Using our first pick here, we can see that it fits into these 2 inside slots. To fill the remaining 2, it looks like this pick should do it, and it does. So, cycling through, we can see that from the outside in, every empty slot should be filled in, and we don't have to spend any picks on additional retries. Time to lock it all in and collect our prize. That should be enough to at least give you an idea of how lockpicking works in Starfield. There are more difficult lock types that we didn't show here, like Expert and Master locks, but to access these you need to invest more points into the security skill. The locks are all randomly generated, so if you're down to your last digipick and you're afraid the puzzle might be too tough, save right before going into it. If it's too hard and you can't figure it out, just reload and see if you get an easier one. You also gain some helpful abilities for completing these puzzles when you invest more points into your security skill, like this blue ring highlight ability that lets you know if your selected Digipick does or does not fit into the slots of the current ring level that you are on. For more, make sure to head on over to IGN to check out our growing Starfield wiki. And for everything else video games, stick with IGN.